Hello, I'm District Judge Shefali Tulukdar. I was appointed in 2018 and I currently work on the Northern Circuit. A very good friend of my parents, who was also their family solicitor, asked me to go into his office when I was about 12 or 13, when I was talking about what exams I should take at what was at O-level then, GCSE now. And he very kindly let me come in and see what they did. And I was just very interested in the type of work he did. He did a lot of criminal work, and he took me to court. He let me see what they were doing. He very kindly allowed me to see what was happening in the office. And I went back to work in that office every year after I was 16. And that kept my interest in becoming a solicitor. And that's why I became a solicitor. I was a solicitor in private practice. I had become a partner in the firm and was managing partner when I left. But my practice area was actually non-contentious. That means I did not go to court. So for the last 25 years of my career as a solicitor, I've been working in the property sector, residential and commercial, but I hadn't been dealing with court matters. I listened to the evidence that's put before me, either in the papers or in the evidence given to me by the people. I apply the law that's relevant to those particular cases and then reach the decision based on the law that needs to be applied and the evidence that I've heard from the parties and that's been given to me in the case. Surprising to a lot of people, it involves a lot of paperwork, as well as sitting in court, which we normally do between 10 and 4 o'clock. We have administrative duties and paperwork, which we call box work, which is dealing with applications on paper, files that are referred to us because queries are taken up by the parties involved or by the staff. And there are some areas of our work where we make the decisions on the paper. So we have quite a lot of administration work to do. And we also get involved in the training and the support of new judges and our part-time judges called deputy district judges. I think if you have an interest in it, is to start finding out what's really involved in the job quite early on. There's a number of ways to do that. You can use your contacts in your local courts and ask the judges if you can perhaps come in and see what goes on behind the scenes, called sitting in. There are also a number of programmes involving the Judicial Appointments Commission and local law societies and the Bar Council, which allow you to apply to be allowed to go and sit in. And also the Judicial Appointments website has a lot of useful information about the sort of things that you need to be looking to do, how you can apply, whether you're ready to apply, and some very useful videos from judges of different levels in different parts of the judicial and tribunal system, telling you what the jobs involve. I became a lawyer over 30 years ago. It was quite difficult as a woman coming into the law at that time. You did meet a little bit of prejudice from clients and a little bit from within the profession. That, I have to say, is very, very different now and has become so much better for everybody. In the judiciary, I didn't particularly meet those kind of barriers, but I did find, not having been a solicitor who went to court, was difficult for me to find out what was involved in joining the judiciary. And I was very lucky to have two local judges who were very interested and very keen to allow me to see what they did and encouraged me to apply and become a deputy district judge. So the type of work you do and the background that you have can be a barrier, and I know that we are all trying to do quite a lot to have a wider range of different diverse backgrounds that people come from. I think it is changing, yes. I think I'm a very good example of that in terms, for example, of the type of solicitor and what type of work I did. There's a perception that a lot of barristers apply to be judges, which they do, but also a lot of solicitors. I think it is a little bit harder for solicitors, as we are perhaps not in court as much as barristers, but it is also harder for people who haven't been involved in the traditional areas of work, family, crime or the civil court work, to find out what to do, to obtain the training to do it and to get here. So that was a barrier which I had to spend a lot of my own time teaching myself and gaining information from as many areas as I could to ensure that I could pass the tests. It absolutely is important. It guarantees that we're free to decide our cases, knowing that we won't be subject to any interference or improper control or undue influence. It's necessary for everybody to know that we are separate from the legislation that is made. It's our job to interpret it and to interpret it fairly, to ensure that people have an impartial decision made on their cases. And we maintain it very successfully in this country. I think we do well. And our appeal system, our courts of appeal that works, that our decisions can be challenged and checked, is an important part of that independence. There's a number. The first question I always get asked is, do I get to send people to prison? So I think people think that we all do the same job. We don't. We're split into different areas, and perhaps until you come in front of one of us because you have a dispute in the civil court or a dispute within your own family, you won't realise that. The other misconception, I think, is that they think we all come from the same type of background. I don't think they realise just how diverse the judiciary is these days, and that we are normal people, and we do understand people's problems and difficulties, but our job is to apply the law based on the facts that we're given for the cases that are in front of us. It's very important to me, and I think it should be important to everybody in this country. We do have it here, and it ensures that we can build our society, and it's the foundation that our society is built on, and it allows us all to ensure that we can live our life and work safely, and that we're free from undue influence, from arbitrary governance, and to make sure that we are protected from an abuse of power. I think we're very lucky in this country. Our system works very well, and I think it's important that we remember that the rule of law is a big important part to ensure that we can live our lives safely. Yes, I'm particularly interested in making sure that people with the right skills understand that the judiciary is something that they can look to do. As I've said before, my background was unusual. I hadn't practiced in the court arena for 25 years. That doesn't mean to say I didn't know the concepts and the principles. I do as a practicing lawyer. I was taught them many years ago and used them for a number of years before I changed my skill set over. I think it's important to realise that the opportunities are there. You should look for those opportunities. You should look for all the advice and information that you can. And if you feel that you have the relevant skills, you should try and not be daunted. And remember that it does take time. You need to understand what we need to do. You need to find out best ways to see that. And you need to make sure that you adapt your skills to what is needed.